Next panelist is Mario Mattioli.
Hi. It's a little bit late, so I'll try to be short, but I don't have a specific question. I wanted to share some thoughts with you. The first one is that after a morning like this one, I hope anyone understands how difficult it is to be a ship owner, because this is one of the main thing that is coming out. Being a ship owner is one of the most difficult, I think, jobs in the world to a certain extent. We are dealing about transparency and open dialogue and the necessity, of course, of being together with the authorities and all the laws that are applying and so on. I think that the system in the last 10 to 15 years has developed a lot, in the sense that most of the reputable companies in the world are very clear in their corporate structure. There is not any more any hiding owner with flag of convenience or things like that. So I think that there has been an enormous evolution in the system. And then if you just consider what does it mean to run a hazardous cargo company like tankers or gas carriers or any other chemicals and so on, then you will easily understand that also the structure of the company is becoming always more and more complicated to satisfy all the needs of the safety management code, the needs of the quality systems, of the environment system and so on. And I think that one of the hardest tasks to cover is the vetting inspection, mainly from oil companies, as they have been developed over the recent years. So I'm pretty sure that in this market, in this world, in this industry, there is a lot of transparency. And the real problem that is coming today with, I mean, I've had a vessel caught by the Libyan authorities and has been seized for 33 days. To a certain extent, I have experienced what does it mean to have a vessel hijacked, even if my hijacking was within vertical commas, because I didn't have pirates, but I had the Libyan authorities of Gaddafi with the Libyan turmoil. It only lasted 33 days, but I tell you that they've been the worst 33 days of my life. And really, what does it mean to have a vessel under the spotlight of the media? Then, I mean, I did another job for 33 days. I mean, trying to answer to the news. We were, in any case, it's a big mess. And this is still worse when a vessel is seized from the pirates. Something that I wish to say is that our job is not fighting pirates. Our job is to transport the goods from one side to the other, to have a proper crew, selected crew, trained crew, as it is recognized by every inspection that there is. If you have a vetting inspection that is positive, it means that you have passed a lot of checks and so on. So I think that you can say to be in quality. But our problem cannot be to become military. And my personal experience, I'm Italian, I've got ships under the UK flag, I've got a company in the UK tonnage tax, and there is an enormous difference in the approach. I wish that in Italy we become more pragmatic, as many other countries are. We have our tankers having the armed guard. We follow strictly the procedure from the BIMCONAI days. We have always had a very open dialogue with our P&I club, with the insurance companies and so on. So we've always tried to do our best. We have never had any problem. Of course, we have had an extra cost in what means to transport people from one side to the other. But the only suggestion that we can give to the master is we have hired to you the most professional team that is on board. Do what they do. Don't try to be or to impose to these people something, because it's not our job. We are civilians. And I think that this is something very important that has to be let's say, understood from our Italian authorities, in the sense that we need trained people, and the militaries are more than trained, but we need people on the spot. We cannot just wait weeks or eventually make huge diversions because there is not the sufficient number of people that can act as armed guard, and I'm talking about the military people. So we really need to have, as Italian flag, more freedom in doing what the other companies and the other countries in Europe is doing. And I think that one of the things said by Giuseppe D'Amato is extremely important. I think that the pirates know the flag, and they know on board of the ship which is the level of protection. And so I think that if we don't grant the same level of protection to all the ships that are transiting in some dangerous area, we are deliberately creating a problem. And this is, in my opinion, unacceptable. And another thing, it cannot be solved by the ship owners. It cannot be solved by the ship owners, but by the governments. And it is very, very important that governments do start acting, thinking in the favor of the people that is on board, rather than wasting their times in understanding whether the legislation to apply on a ship that is in that area is Italian, whether if you have an attack you can be prosecuted by an Italian court and so on, but just to grant the level of security to the people on board. I think this is extremely important. And I mean, it's not a proper question, but I think that to what is my personal experience, I just can say that if there is an open dialogue, not only within the countries, but within Europe, and in my opinion, into the IMO, basically, because I think this is something beyond Europe, is something that is world, and has to, of course, involve also the United Nations, because I think that it is important that these people understand and they have a lesson to a certain extent. And as was said, probably it's better working onshore rather than offshore, and trying to, in a certain way, reduce these places in which pirates are doing what they are doing. So this is a general thought that I was thinking to do, and I think transparency is quite enough. We have to also, I mean, consider not only work and going back to inspect our ship, also when they are at sea without many problems or where they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mario. I think that all the audience share 100% of what you did say. I mean, I think that having the privilege of having Alphonse here, maybe if you want to add a few words from the EU perspective.
Well, what you said was exactly what I tried to sell as well, that it is the task of the international community to take care of the piracy problem, not only in Africa, but everywhere. Now, to some extent, this is done in Europe, but with limited resources. And the danger is now that with the number of incidents going down off Somalia, that there is a kind of complacency. And that's why we asked the European Parliament to issue a third resolution on piracy, insisting on the member states, EU member states, to further contribute to EU NAVFOR, but also to contribute for the actions that the EEAS, European External Service, is taking ashore in Somalia and in the surrounding countries, because it's often forgotten that this is basic action to avoid that you have piracy in the future. Military action is kind of short term, but it's the longer term, which is important. And what I still am a bit disappointed about, it's not about the EU, but about the UN, the United Nations. IMO deals with a lot of things in a good way, sometimes a bit less good. This ISO thing going on certification through the IMO is good as well. But the UN, the United Nations as such, should take globally, not only of Somalia or in West Africa, globally action against piracy. It doesn't stop in Africa, it goes much further.